We're extremely worried. Extremely.
Monster. Like, who are you? What kind of person would do that to anybody, let alone just vulnerable women? I think I would want to ask him, why my daughter? Why these other women? You know, it's not just my daughter that, you know, I'm feeling for. You know, it's the other women that, you know, he, you know, have done, you know, possibly done this to.
Well, what if your online date turned out to be a serial killer? It's an unsettling question, yet a harsh reality in the case of the shopping cart serial killer. A dark tale of online dating turned deadly, involving Anthony Robinson, a transient factory worker, his victims, women he met online, lured to motels and brutally murdered. The chilling signature: bodies left in desolate areas, a shopping cart nearby.
Family in mourning after the loss of their mother, grandmother, daughter, and sister, 54-year-old Aline Elizabeth Redman, also known as Beth. 8 News spoke with her daughter, Jessica May.
I'll never be able to smell her again. I'll never be able to hear her voice again. Like, it's the worst thing that anybody could ever go through. And it's terrible. Right before the holidays, and just knowing that I'll never speak to my mom again, it's just a feeling that I just can't even describe. I don't understand how anybody can take somebody's life. I feel really sad because I know that there's other people out there that are going through the same thing, the same feeling.
Today, we delve into the chilling case of the shopping cart serial killer. The victims were ordinary women with lives, families, and dreams. Cheyenne Brown, a single mother pregnant with her second child, was just 29 years old. Her life was abruptly ended, leaving behind a 7-year-old son and a grieving family. Stephanie Harrison, a 48-year-old tourist from Redding, California, embarked on a trip she would never return from. In Harrisonburg, Virginia, 2 other lives were extinguished. Aline Beth Redman, a 54-year-old mother of 2, was a rooted member of her community. Tanita Smith, a 39-year-old mother of 6 from Charlottesville, Virginia, was also brutally taken. Each of these women had their own stories, their own dreams, and their own families left shattered in the wake of their tragic fate. Their paths crossed with Anthony Robinson, a man they met on dating sites, a man they trusted enough to meet in person.
First tonight, 2 victims of the shopping cart killer have been identified, and police say the suspect may be linked to a 5th murder. Fairfax County Police believe Anthony Robinson is responsible for the deaths of Cheyenne Brown and Stephanie Harrison.
Both were found in a container near the Moon Inn Motel in Alexandria last month.
Both were found in a container near the Moon Inn Motel in Alexandria last month.
Right, Jim. So police were able to confirm their identities using DNA evidence. Now, I spoke to the mother of Cheyenne Brown about an hour ago. Of course, she says the entire family is just devastated about this, and she's still trying to wrap her mind around what happened.
It's bad enough you started with 1, but to continue to do this, like, you're a freaking monster. You can't have any remorse in your body for the stuff that you're doing. For you to continue to do it over and over, now possibly a 5th time.
And police say detectives found the bodies of Cheyenne Brown and Stephanie Harrison after the Moon Inn Hotel produced a receipt showing Robinson stayed at the motel the same day Cheyenne went missing. They also say Robinson was the last person to see her alive. And like some of his other alleged victims, police say Robinson interacted with her using a dating app. Now, police also said today they received a tip this week. Robinson could be linked to a potential 5th victim, a woman who was found dead in a shopping cart in Washington, D.C.
This is based on digital evidence that puts him in the same vicinity around the time of the victim's disappearance.
Now, police say they are still looking for some more information on Robinson tonight. They're looking for anyone who may have interacted with him on some of these dating apps. Again, they say this was usually the method that he used to lure in his victims. So they hope someone who might have contacted him or someone he interacted with will reach out to them with more information on him. Right now, he's in jail awaiting trial for the 2 other murders he's charged with. Guys, back to you.
Cheyenne Brown, for instance, had met Robinson online in August 2021 and even invited him to meet her family at her home in Washington. Little did she know, it would be a meeting that would lead to her untimely demise. Their lives were not just taken, they were brutally extinguished. Their bodies were discarded without a second thought, left in vacant lots, fields, or wooded areas, often found next to an abandoned shopping cart, a chilling signature of the man who ended their lives. These were women who had their whole lives ahead of them. They were mothers who were robbed of the chance to see their children grow up. They were daughters whose families will forever mourn their loss.
He preys on the weak, he preys on the vulnerable, and he does unspeakable things with his victim.
Fairfax County Police arresting a man they call the shopping cart killer, 35-year-old Anthony Robinson, accused of murdering at least 4 women.
Back in November, police in Harrisonburg found 2 bodies in a vacant lot. Robinson was later arrested for that, and police in the district started investigating him in connection to the death of Cheyenne Brown. She went missing on September 30th. Fairfax County Police believe they found her body near a shopping cart in Alexandria in the very same container where Brown's remains were found. Police say another person's remains were there. That person has not yet been identified.
Investigators believe Robinson met his victims on dating sites, took them to motels, then used a shopping cart to dispose of their remains in various locations. They think there may be more victims out there. Police say Robinson is transient. He had addresses in New York, Prince George's County, and D.C. He also had many jobs and no criminal history. Now authorities are trying to figure out where else he's been. Anyone who knew him is asked to call police.
They were individuals who had dreams, aspirations, and plans that were all cruelly cut short. Their lives were brutally snuffed out, their bodies dumped like discarded objects, but they were not objects. They were vibrant, living women whose lives were tragically cut short. And as we delve deeper into their stories, let's not forget them for the victims they were, but remember them for the individuals they were and the lives they lived. Robinson had a routine, a gruesome method to his madness. In the darkened corners of the internet, where innocent hopes for companionship intermingle with sinister intentions, Robinson wove his web. Dating sites, those modern arenas of romance, became his hunting grounds. He was not seeking love, but prey. His victims, often vulnerable women, were lured by the promise of connection, unaware of the grisly fate that awaited them. The motels were his stages, nondescript establishments along busy highways, places where a transient man and his transient guests wouldn't draw attention. Here in these transient spaces, Robinson would enact his horrifying performances.
There are a lot of questions about this case.
Our Josh Rosenthal speaking to a professor who studies serial killers about this investigation and how it all unfolded. He is live tonight in Fairfax County Police headquarters with more. Hi, Josh.
Hey, Marina, Jim, this is incredibly unusual, and for that reason, we reached out to this expert, somebody who actually studies serial killers, to get her perspective, her reaction to what we know so far.
These cases are exceedingly rare, and it's our job to try to prevent them from happening. So anything that we can learn from this case will hopefully prevent future victims from being prey to serial killers.
The walls of these rooms, if they could speak, would tell tales of unspeakable brutality, of lives abruptly and violently extinguished. And then there was the shopping cart, an object so mundane, so innocuous, it's almost laughable. Yet in this context, it became a chilling symbol of death. It was his transport, his means of moving his victims from the clandestine scenes of their demise to their final, lonely resting places. Vacant lots, wooded areas, places forgotten by the world, these were the grim galleries where Robinson displayed his macabre artistry. What kind of mind conceives such a method? Luring, killing, transporting, discarding. It's a process that speaks to a chilling efficiency, a cold detachment from the sanctity of life. Yet, there's a perverse intimacy in it too, the choice of the shopping cart, a tool of everyday life, a symbol of domesticity, turned into a vehicle of death. It's as if Robinson was mocking the very idea of normalcy, thumbing his nose at the world while hiding in plain sight. But every action leaves a trace, every routine forms a pattern, and this pattern, this modus operandi of luring victims through dating sites, killing them in motels, and leaving their bodies in shopping carts, it began to emerge from the shadows.
That's Elizabeth Gurian. She's a professor of criminology and criminal justice, and she just published a book on serial and mass murder. Today she told me that it does not surprise her that the accused has very little criminal history. She said in her data set, most serial killers do not. Also, we heard police say today that they are worried about murders that may have been committed by Anthony Robinson prior to these last few months. Well, Gurian says typically male serial killers who act alone are caught within a year of their crimes, and she said it's a similar story with partnered serial killers because the dynamic between multiple offenders is so unstable. Last thing, here's something the Fairfax County Police Chief said today, followed by Gurian's very positive response.
We believe that there may be other victims in the area and throughout the Commonwealth of Virginia, and we need to act now.
We have what's known in criminology as linkage blindness, where, if you're a serial killer in Europe, for example, and, a bunch of victims are killed in Belgium and a bunch of victims are killed in France, those police departments may not communicate and make that link that there's a serial killer. So police are doing absolutely everything right to see if there have been some missing victims in nearby jurisdictions.
So bottom line, very little of what was said today surprised this expert, and just like the rest of us, she's going to be following the rest of this case very closely. Guys.
A signature, once invisible, became glaringly apparent. His signature, a shopping cart, would soon lead to his downfall. While law enforcement swung into action as the body count rose. The gruesome discovery of the bodies of missing women in vacant lots and wooded areas in Virginia sent shockwaves through the community and had police scrambling for leads. The victims were transported to their final resting places in shopping carts, a chilling signature of a serial killer on the loose. The case took a twist when the cell phone of one victim, Cheyenne Brown, a pregnant single mother, pinged at a motel in Alexandria. Despite 2 fruitless searches of the motel grounds, the investigators were undeterred. Their tenacity paid off when a detective spotted a shopping cart in a large plastic container in a nearby vacant lot. The container held the decomposed remains of 2 women, one of them identified as Cheyenne Brown by her tattoo. The other victim found alongside Brown was Stephanie Harrison, a tourist from Redding, California. These grim discoveries, however, were not isolated events. Weeks earlier, the remains of 2 other missing women, Aline Beth Redman and Tanita Smith, were recovered in a field next to a Howard Johnson motel in Harrisonburg, Virginia. An abandoned shopping cart was found next to their bodies, reinforcing the killer's macabre signature.
This is very, very terrifying, it's very dangerous. And I have complained from my own employees, they are not safe. They are scared. Some customer right now, if they see the police just in the street, they're scared.
The relentless efforts of the police department led to the arrest of Anthony Robinson, a 37-year-old factory and waste removal worker. Robinson, who had been staying at the motel while working at a nearby poultry processing plant, was charged with first-degree murder and other crimes in connection with the deaths of Redman and Smith. The investigation expanded quickly as authorities linked Robinson to at least 6 deaths in Virginia, Maryland, and the District of Columbia. Most of the bodies were dumped next to the killer's signature calling card, a shopping cart. Robinson, described by police as a transient, allegedly met women on dating websites and lured them to motels where he brutally killed them. Fairfax County Police Chief Kevin Davis, during a press conference, chillingly said of Robinson, "We have a serial killer. He preys on the weak and the vulnerable. After doing unspeakable things to his victims, he transports their bodies to their final resting place, literally in a shopping cart." Police in Maryland, in light of Robinson's arrest, are also reportedly re-examining the sudden death of Robinson's fiancée Sky Allen in 2018, originally deemed to be of natural causes. Robinson was also named as the sole person of interest in the death of Sonia Champ, whose body was found in a shopping cart in Washington in September 2021.
I'm gonna be honest, I was mad crazy. I was, cause it wasn't no closure at first because I didn't know what happened to her. Now I have closure. It devastated me. I want to talk to him, to be honest with you. I have to be a face-to-face thing with me. I have a lot to say because you took my child. A lot. For no reason. She wasn't yours to be taken and you took her from me.
The investigation into this chilling series of murders was a testament to the tireless efforts of the police. Their determination, even in the face of seemingly fruitless searches, eventually led to the capture of a serial killer. Yet, As the evidence mounted, so did the horror. As the full extent of Robinson's crimes were revealed, the community grappled with the chilling realization that a predator had been in their midst. Anthony Robinson, a seemingly ordinary man, hid a dark secret. A 37-year-old factory and waste removal worker, Robinson was no stranger to hard work and long hours. To those who knew him, he seemed just like any other man trying to make a living. He was known to have a daughter and was occasionally seen living in Washington, D.C. However, there was another side to Robinson that remained hidden. A side that was anything but ordinary. Beneath the everyday facade, Robinson was a predator, lurking in the shadows of the internet, preying on vulnerable women he met on dating sites. His charming online persona was nothing more than a ruse designed to entice his unsuspecting victims. He would lure these women to motels, places where their screams would be muffled by the hum of traffic and the anonymity of transient occupants. Once there, he would brutally end their lives, leaving their bodies in vacant lots and wooded areas, transported in something as mundane as a shopping cart. A chilling signature of a deranged mind. The question is, how did Robinson manage to elude suspicion for so long? How did this seemingly ordinary man go unnoticed while committing such heinous crimes? The answer lies in the terrifying reality that monsters often hide in plain sight. Robinson, with his ordinary job and ordinary life, was able to blend into the background, his horrific deeds going unnoticed in the hustle and bustle of everyday life. Robinson's arrest has sent shockwaves through the communities he once frequented. The man they thought they knew was in reality a serial killer, his victims numbering at least 6. The true extent of his monstrous actions is still being uncovered, as police continue their investigations. Beneath the veneer of normalcy, a monster lurked. A monster named Anthony Robinson, who used the anonymity of the internet and the seclusion of motels to commit unthinkable atrocities. A chilling reminder that sometimes the most ordinary-seeming people can hide the darkest of secrets. Yet there are questions that remain unanswered. As the chilling tale of the shopping cart serial killer continues to unfold, there are still pieces of the puzzle that do not fit. The dark cloud of uncertainty that hangs over this case has not been completely dispelled, leaving us with more questions than answers. Anthony Robinson, the prime suspect, is believed to have a broader, darker footprint than what has been uncovered so far. Authorities suspect Robinson's involvement in several unsolved murders in Virginia, Maryland, and the District of Columbia. The brutal nature of these killings and their eerie similarity to the cases tied to Robinson raise the suspicion that we may be dealing with a serial killer whose reign of terror extends beyond what we currently know. Additionally, the sudden death of Robinson's fiancée, Sky Allen, in 2018 has come under renewed scrutiny. Initially ruled as a natural death, there are now reasons to believe that there might have been foul play involved. Could it be possible that Robinson's violent tendencies started way before the first known victim? Then there's Sonia Champ, a 40-year-old woman found lifeless in a shopping cart in Washington in September 2021. Robinson is the only person of interest in her death. If he is indeed guilty of this crime, it would add another layer of complexity to an already convoluted case. These unresolved mysteries paint a picture of a man who is not just a suspect, but potentially a serial killer with a vast, terrifying footprint. Each unsolved case that could be linked to Robinson adds another chapter to a story that is as horrifying as it is fascinating. The task before the investigators is monumental: to connect the dots, to bring justice to the victims, and to reveal the full extent of Robinson's alleged crimes. Will they succeed? Only time will tell. Until then, the shadows of doubt and fear continue to linger. As we unravel the mysteries of the shopping cart serial killer, we must also remember the victims and hope that justice will soon be served. The shockwaves of this case still reverberate. The families of the victims were left shattered, their lives forever marked by the horrifying loss. Nakadra Brown, the mother of Cheyenne, openly mourns her daughter, her tears a testament to the love she held for her. She wishes she could have protected her. The same sentiment echoes in the hearts of the families of Aline Beth Redmond and Tanita Smith. Their lives, once filled with the presence of beloved mothers, are now marked by their absence. The local community of Virginia, Maryland, and the District of Columbia, where the bodies were found, reel from the shock of such a monstrous act in their midst. The discovery of the bodies, the shopping carts left behind as a gruesome signature, it all paints a chilling picture that haunts their collective memory. The once bustling motel grounds and vacant lots now carry a sinister undertone, a reminder of the horror that unfolded there. The implications of this case ripple out, touching the wider sphere of online dating safety. The ease with which Anthony Robinson, the alleged killer, lured his victims through dating websites is a stark reminder of the potential dangers lurking in the digital world. It raises the question of how safe we really are when we put ourselves out there seeking connection. The law enforcement agencies, in light of this case, urge everyone to exercise caution when meeting strangers online. They stress the importance of informing someone about your whereabouts and the person you're meeting. They also suggest conducting a background check, if possible, before meeting anyone from the internet in person. The aftermath of this case serves as a chilling reminder of the potential dangers that lurk in the shadows of our society. It's a wake-up call, a call to action for everyone to be more vigilant, more aware. It's a call to not let our guard down, even when seeking connection in the digital world. In the face of unspeakable tragedy, we are left to question, how well do we really know the people we meet online? As we grapple with the chilling reality of this case, we're left to ponder some unsettling truths. Anthony Robinson, a seemingly ordinary man, is now a suspect in a series of horrific murders. His victims were women he met on dating sites, lured to motels, and brutally killed. The shopping cart serial killer, as he's been dubbed, leaves an eerie signature at his crime scenes. A shopping cart, a morbid vessel for his victim's final journey. In this macabre tale, there are still many unanswered questions. What drove Robinson to commit these heinous acts? How could he have lived a double life, unnoticed for so long, and perhaps most importantly, how many more victims are there? This case serves as a grim reminder of the dangers that can exist in the digital world. The same platforms that connect us with friends, loved ones, and potential partners can also open doors to unimaginable horrors. It's a stark warning that not everyone we meet online is who they appear to be. As we delve into the abyss of Robinson's motives, we are confronted with the harsh reality of human depravity. His victims were mothers, daughters, sisters, women who trusted him only to have their lives brutally cut short. In the end, we are left with a chilling reminder of the darkness that can lurk behind a computer screen. The story of the shopping cart serial killer isn't just a tale of murder. It's a cautionary tale about the dangers of the unseen world that exist behind the pixels and keystrokes of our digital lives.